So they're Jake Milne, W.I.C.
Bailey Midkiff, W.I.C.
Excellent. Thank you both for joining me here today. We were just talking quickly about the nice weather that is approaching. You know, we've got, for those folks listening, we're recording this right before Easter. So, you know what, guys? We should probably wish everybody a happy Easter and a happy spring and everything. What do you think, huh, Jake? Are you up for that today?
Friday.
Absolutely. Amen. Happy Easter to everyone. Too bad the whole country shut down, but it's probably haven't seen anything like this since back in World War II, really.
You're probably right on that. You know, and the thing that I talked about this morning on the Black Hills Radio, I do a weekly radio update with Black Hills Radio. It's got Newcastle and Gillette and Belfouche involved with the radio stations. And we talked about how there's some communities actually having the conversation of whether police officers are going to break up Easter Sunday masses. And I'd never thought I'd live in a world where we would be having that public discussion or not. Can you believe it? I mean,
I know the Catholic churches here in Casper, they're letting people come in, but it's all outside and it's one family at a time going up to get communion. And at least that's what I've been told is going on here.
Yeah, it's different. You know, a lot of people are embracing the online side of things, of course. And I've seen some articles on how to worship on Sunday, and it's just another sign of the times that we're going through. And, you know, last time we spoke, Bailey Midkiff, you were out there doing outside sales calls. You know, you'd show up to somebody's office and there'd be a sign up that says, you know, nobody's around today, appointment only and everything. How about a little update from the outside sales world, if you wouldn't mind? Is that still a thing, or is that kind of slowed down a little bit?
I think it's grown a little bit. I had one today.
That's good to hear.
Right? I had one today where the individual I talked to yesterday, and mind you, so this was only a day ago, that, hey, you know, can I swing in? Is it appropriate? I'm taking the precautions, and they were perfectly fine with this situation. I get there today, and the door was locked. I called, and they came to the door on the phone and said, hey, we just got a public announcement via email for the whole company that we can't take calls, even though it's been planned. They want us to avoid this unless it's of dire need. So they talked to me via phone as they stared at me through the glass window. So, I mean, it's give and take.
Boy, that's an interesting story there, but that's really a sign of the times. I've got a few people that stop by my house. I've been, pretty much self-quarantined. Our state's on a stay-at-home quarantine until May. We just got reissued till May, actually, May 5th. And, being a border state of North Dakota and all. And we've got some interesting things that have happened. I tested negative. I went in for my cancer update, and they gave me a screening and this and that, and I didn't have any symptoms. And like I said, after they gave me a clean bill of health on my cancer, the doctor actually shook my hand. He was so confident that I didn't have COVID-19. So I've had a few people that have stopped by because they're just going stir crazy. And the reason I bring it up, Bailey and Jake, is I do want people to know that oil and gas is an essential business out there. And there are a lot of companies that are still taking meetings. And there are a lot of companies out there that are still okay with having a face-to-face, I'll even shake your hand type of a meeting. But then in the same time, they're aware of the public pressures. And if they got to turn on a dime, everybody's got to understand. And Bailey, your story illustrated that perfectly, how you showed up and you had to pull an audible, man. You had to be a Tom Brady and pull an audible right at the line of scrimmage.
I did, and you know what? It wasn't so bad. It was kind of amusing. It's not every day you get those opportunities, so it'll be a cool story for the future. But the only thing that I find utterly most surprising right now with all those is my email blowing up with stuff postponed. And I mean so far out. And I mean, I challenge you with this, Jason. What's so weird to me, and like a shout out to, Kit and Austin Jennings, they had to postpone the Energy Expo. And I found that really surprising because it's really far out. So, I mean, we're really looking at this from a long-term point of view versus just a month from now it's going to be normal.
Jake, how about you? Go ahead. How about you at your workplace? You're a guy who takes meetings. You're in charge of expanding the company's dream and goal, keeping an eye on the day-to-day operations, but at the same time, making sure that when Bailey's out there putting business on the books, you got to make sure you guys can deliver. How are you guys doing at the home office?
We're doing all right. It's been up and down, comes and goes. It's like seeing, just like you said, project cancellations and delays, but we're still seeing bids come in, so that's good. And on the note of the expo getting pushed back and the long term of it, they're even talking about increasing the absentee ballots in Wyoming, and that's that it doesn't come until election. When the election's not till the 8th of August, I believe, and so they're talking about making changes there, and a lot of vendors and clients are still sending out notices. This is our new deal. You got to fill out this questionnaire before you come to our location, send it into safety. And then ISN and those other third parties, they're requiring us to create new COVID-19 procedures, and it's still very loud and out there. That's for dang sure.
Well, that's the one thing I've noticed more than anything is that nobody has any answers. And yesterday, again, we're recording this right before, basically it's Good Friday, so right before Easter Sunday. Yesterday was the OPEC Plus, and then I realized there's an OPEC Plus now. I mean, I didn't even realize there was an OPEC Plus, and then they pull out the OPEC Plus. So that was confusing. But then all of a sudden, they have this big meeting, and there was a lot of positivity, but at the end, everybody says, but we still got to read it and make sure they follow the schedule, so we're not really sure. So we've got uncertainty there. Nobody really understands the COVID-19 uncertainty. I'm supposed to MC the Bakken Barbecue. That's still on in the first part of June. But as you mentioned, Austin and Kit Jennings, who have been doing the Energy Expo for 20-some years, they've already pushed it back to September. Major League Baseball, NFL, National Basketball League. I think a lot of people are kind of taking cues from that and then kind of going backwards. And that's why I was pretty happy the Bakken Barbecue is like, we're going to remain positive till the last very second, type thing. But even she's starting to feel the pressure there a little bit. And it's still months away. That's the thing that's so crazy about this is we're still months away from things. So it's an interesting dynamic. The only reason I bring it up is because I just want to have people just take a step back and stay calm because the leaders right now, like, say Trump, for example, to bring in Donald Trump with the OPEC stuff, he doesn't even really have the answers yet. He's trying to just say, let's get back to work by Easter. And then he comes back, let's get back to work by May 1st. So he's, he wants to get things moving. But at the same time, he understands this is bigger than me even. You guys know what I mean by that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's everything's changing every day, ain't it? The formulas and the charts that they're bringing out, they change from day to day. I don't think anyone really knows what's going to happen. It's kind of a wait and see type deal. But all in all, it seems, in my opinion, I think that the curve's starting to flatten, and it's going to be up to the states to decide what they're going to do. I mean, we can't have Big Brother telling us how to do everything, and every state's going to be different. But Wyoming's been fortunate. We haven't had any deaths yet. And
for real?
I have a feeling we're the only state that hasn't. And I have a feeling that things are going to get back to normal quicker here. But, you also got to think we're the least populated state, and people are social distancing here for 100 years now. So,
well, and one of the things also I want to make sure that people understand is just because we're having a conversation about getting back to work doesn't mean that we're being callous or we're being, insensitive to the people that are affected by this, because no, we're not. In fact, the thing that I really want to make sure people understand is the oil and gas industry is needed now more than ever. I see these headlines about Tesla and Elon Musk about these ventilators, and I get a little bit upset. In fact, I get a little bit insulted. I don't have an oil and gas background. I've only been in this for like 10 years now. And I fell in love with the capitalism behind oil and gas. I fell in love with the innovation behind oil and gas. I fell in love with the community building behind oil and gas. So when I see them get picked on like the modern day lepers when they're out saving lives every day, I'm a little insulted, to be honest. I'm a little insulted. And so I'd like to take this opportunity, if you guys wouldn't mind, to kind of talk a little bit about how oil and gas is really helping and healing in the COVID-19 fight and the coronavirus epidemic. Because if Elon Musk is getting credit in the headlines for ventilators, that's insulting. Do you guys know what I mean by that? Because I really believe that now is the time when us as an industry should step up and say, we are really essential. We are so essential that the governor of Colorado, who declared a war on oil and gas, now has to admit that we are an essential business. Whether it's the diesel that we put in the trucks to get you the vaccines that you need, or whether it's the power that generates the ventilator, or maybe it's even what your mask is made out of. So there's a lot of different things. Jake, right. If you don't mind, I'll start with you and ask you, have you thought about how much of an impact the oil and gas industry has had on the COVID-19 epidemic?
Well, it's more than just helping and healing with it. It's, it's an industry that, because of the OPEC issues, we're brought to our knees, and we're still out there working every day. I've said it 100 times, when it comes to the energy sector, you're not going to find a better safety conscious industry. Whether you're a refiner, a pipeline crew, anywhere you're at in this industry, we're paying close attention to it and setting up the procedures to make sure that we can flatten the curve. We don't want the spread, and we don't want our people getting sick. They're our greatest resources, and we do what we can to protect them. I think just by getting a look at that, I think a lot of other industries could benefit off of looking at what we've done through this when they start getting back to work, because it's going to be there's going to be new norms when someone's sick, because this COVID-19 ain't going away. This ain't going to be the last year that people get sick by it. It's going to come back. It's just, how are we going to protect ourselves against it? And there's going to be new norms in the safety world. For example, one thing that we're doing is making it a requirement that all of our mobile shops and trucks and offices all have hand wash stations and hand sanitizer and all that stuff, and going through the procedure